Good morning. Welcome to Monday meditation. If you're watching this on a recorded version, welcome to whatever day it is for you. We're going to explore a few things this morning. One of the things that I am learning more and more as a practitioner and as a teacher of meditation is the idea of, well, it's multifaceted. The idea of following our inner wisdom, the idea of having more than one way into presence, the idea of tapping into our own sense of self, or the idea, fancy word is interoception, our ability and the sense that we feel of ourselves, and bringing those together in a way this morning that maybe helps us explore presence in a different way. And this is important because not everybody responds well to breath. Sometimes, for some of us, whether it's a difficult day or we have a history that doesn't allow us to feel safe in our bodies, excuse me, I am trying not to cough this morning. For any of those reasons, sometimes breath isn't the best way in. And so we need to explore what is the best way in for us. There's another component too that we're not trying to be like, we're not trying to shoehorn ourselves into something that doesn't feel right for us. And so again, the more we experiment and explore with other ways of creating presence, not only is it compassionate, but it gives us more options, especially when our brain isn't letting us do the things that we think we should be doing, or in the way we think we should be doing. There's a lot of things connected to meditation that are shoulds. I should be sitting a certain way. I should be doing a certain kind of presence, like following my breath. And there are so many good things with that. And if that's only part of your practice or part of the time that you can practice that way, or if you never can, that doesn't mean you're not going to be able to meditate or, find some level of mindfulness and presence in your day. So, with that in mind, we're going to play around a little bit. Most of the things that I'm going to suggest today, in fact, all of them, you can do while sitting. Some of them might feel better to do while you're standing up and moving, and you get to choose which one is best for you. If you feel if you can't, pay attention with your eyes closed and stand, I'm not sure I would recommend that. So you're welcome to sit. It has the same or similar effect, even if you're not standing up for some of these things. So practice tapping into your inner wisdom and letting yourself know which one is best for you this morning. All right, let's stop talking and get down to some meditation. Just let yourself settle into a spot where you have presence or less discomfort for the next few minutes. Feeling your feet underneath you if you're sitting, feeling all the connection points if you're sitting or laying. So connection of your feet, connection of your legs to the chair or to the bed, connection of your back on the back of the chair, maybe connection between your hands and your legs if you're resting your hands on your legs. Lean into that connection, meaning bring your attention to those places where your feet are touching, your hands are touching. Without changing or focusing on your breath, just notice the movement it causes, the expansion of your rib cage. Maybe you feel it at the tip of your nose. And let yourself lean into the idea of what have you brought with you to this moment. Maybe you haven't yet had your coffee and that's on your mind. Maybe you just rolled out of bed. Or your hair is still wet from the shower. What is your experience in this moment, and what have you brought with you here? As we move into further presence, feel the weight of your body leaning further into the chair or to the bed or into your feet if you're standing. Maybe noticing shoulders dropping and softening your belly. We hold so much in our belly. We keep our belly tight in ways that we don't even recognize until we lean into that space. So let yourself lean into your belly, relaxing it. Any tightness, let it be, let it go. Softening around your shoulders. Softening the muscles of your face. Settling a little deeper into presence. Maybe you've just caught yourself thinking about something and you went, oh no, I'm thinking. Celebrate the good job. Because that's the work right there. Our mind will wander. It's part of our humanness. And the work is coming back to presence, and you just did it. So now that you're grounded and settled in your space, we're going to go through some of the movements for today that help you explore a different pathway into presence. These have a little bit of compassionate ideology thrown in there too. So this idea of being able to support ourselves, whether it is for compassion or safety, works the same for both, or it can work the same for both. And for this part, it's okay if you need to open your eyes. In fact, opening your eyes can sometimes be the needed compassionate response when you're meditating. If things don't feel quite settled or right for you, it can take a little bit to be able to meditate with your eyes closed. And sometimes people never do it. So again, going back to your way in, going back to acceptance of your inner wisdom and the guidance it gives us. And for this process, we're going to be using our hands. So if you can do it with your eyes closed, that's fine. But bring your hand up to your forehead. Don't touch your forehead quite yet. Just bring your hand up there to the point where you can sense a temperature exchange between your hand and your forehead. Now bring your other hand back behind your head. So you've got one right behind the back of your head, one hand, and one hand right in front of your head. And now slowly bring it closer to where you're touching and you're holding. Again, noticing the contact points, noticing the changes that it brings. Maybe apply a little bit of pressure, just a little bit, to see how that changes. Putting hands on our physical body, changing pressure. It all can affect the way we take in our sensory processing, the way we take in the messages from our senses. Just pay attention to that. Now we're going to move the hands. So again, slowly, we want to do this. We want to do this in a thoughtful way. So every time you move into a different position with your hands, move with intention. This time we're going to take our hands and cover our ears and just notice. Again, right before or right above our ears, how does it already start to change our experience? If any of these are uncomfortable, do not do them. It is okay just to sit there in presence. Just cover your hands for a minute, or your ears for a minute. Allowing your experience and the shifted sense of your experience to just be there. Feeling into whether or not this feels right for you. Slowly moving your hands away again. We're going to come down to our chest. One hand on our chest. You can rest the other hand on your lap or wherever it would be comfortable. Again, right above, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm right above. There's a little bit of space between my hand and my chest. Just notice what it feels like as you start to come into the field of your heart. And now let your heart, or you'll let your hand press in a little bit. And we're just going to rest here with this for a few minutes. If you're so inspired to take a deep breath, let yourself do that. And now bring the other hand up too. Again, we're just experimenting with what these things feel like. You might experiment with bringing your breath to your hands, or you might experiment with different pressures, putting a little more pressure like we did with the forehead. So take your hands away gently, intentionally. Just be with whatever changes you feel. And this time we're going to start a similar way. We're going to do hand over the heart again. hand over the belly too, and you can't see this one for me. I'll stand up a little bit, but we're at about just below your rib cage. Whoop, that doesn't work with the blue background. Just below your rib cage. Hand over the heart, hand over the belly, the diaphragm, I guess, technically. Again, holding your hands just above the body, feeling the sense of temperature change or whatever you notice there. And then letting your hands settle more into connection and contact. We're looking for a pleasing way into presence. Bringing attention to the fact that you can pay attention to the temperature changes. You can pay attention to the pressure changes. Those are other sense pathways that bring us into the moment, just like the breath will. And so slowly and deliberately take your hands away and just rest them in your lap. Maybe palm side up to give it a little different experience. How did your body respond? So the next component, as a reminder, you can still sit down and do this. I will be. Or you can do this standing up if you prefer. Turn your palms so that they're facing or laying on top of your thighs. Again, right above the thighs to start with, if you'd like to experiment with that. Playing a little bit with pressure and moving your hands forward to your knees, slowly and deliberately. This movement is something I used to teach people to help with anxiety, to help bring a sense of presence back into your body, kind of a big way. Slowly and deliberately moving your hands from closer to the hips toward the knees, moving downward or away from the body, maybe is a better way. Playing with pressure again. Maybe you prefer to push with your palms. Or maybe your fingers feel good if you do a movement, like sort of a claw movement as you move down towards your knees. What feels best for you? And does this help you be in presence in a kind and compassionate way? And do the movement for a few more times. And then when you feel like you've done enough, just stop your hands moving. Maybe keep them right where you've stopped them. Or you can return them to the upturned palms if you'd like. So this next step is a variation on what we just did. And again, this is to experiment and play with. This is also something that if you feel you are neurodivergent, it's very hard for some people with neurodivergence to see things in their mind. Like when we, as meditation teachers, ask people to imagine how the breath flows through the body or, various other things. Sometimes when you have neurodivergence, it's very hard to keep that internal image. And so Many people I've talked to who are neurodivergent have a hard time doing meditation unless it's something concrete and physical like we're doing right now. That can also be true of people with trauma. So, under the guise of giving us more ways into presence, bring your hands, your palms back over your thighs, where your hips are. You don't have to go that far up. And we're going to do the same thing we did, except this time, instead of stopping at the knees, we're going to go down to the feet. So it will require a little bending. If bending feels uncomfortable for you, just take it to the point where it's comfortable. No need to push. Again, we're trying to be compassionate and trying to find a pleasing way in. So just experimenting down over the knees, down to the legs, maybe to your ankles. Just try it again. Cross your thighs, down to your knees, down your legs to your ankles, maybe to your toes. See how that feels a couple more times. And then we'll add another twist. Leaning into the sense of movement in order to be in this present moment, using the sense pathway of your tactile, your touch. So on this next one, again, starting at your thighs, over the knees, down to the ankles. When you get to the very bottom, we're going to bring our arms up. Bringing it up above your head, coming together with palms, coming down in front of us. If you want to play with breath, you can do that. So as you go down your leg, breathing in, and as you come up, breathing out. Palms together, down in front of your face, stopping at your heart. When you feel like you have done enough practicing in that arena, just bring yourself back to the position you were in when we started. Again, allowing yourself to settle in this moment. And lean into how your body feels different, how your mind maybe feels different. Maybe you still feel the sensation of movement tingling in your hands or your legs. Maintaining a compassionate presence, maintaining a soft belly and soft shoulders. Congratulating yourself for this experiment in movement and touch in a compassionate way. And maintain your presence as long as you feel is necessary. And when you're ready, bring your attention back to the room. The journal prompts will be listed on my Facebook page or the YouTube website. The idea of exploring this a little further is in there. And I hope that you are able to find a place of ease to enter into presence in a different way. Thank you for being here this morning.